Welcome, Fort Wainwright, to another edition of Arctic Vibe. Today I'm here at the beautiful Ski Hill Lodge that opened up last winter as $18 million, wonderful gift to our community from our Army, Higher Army headquarters. So a couple hot topics today. The first one is an incredible opportunity that we have here at Fort Wainwright every year, which is the Christmas tree cutting opportunity for our families. So it's free to get a tree cutting permit. You do that through iSportsman. And then you can go cut up to a 10-foot tree, and that's the length of the tree as it's in the ground. So don't go trying to cut one of those Clark Griswold trees that's like 30 feet tall and try to fit in your living room. But up to 10 feet for free. You cut it yourself, get it in your truck and take it home. Just remember, if you're over the age of 16, you still need to log into iSportsman, get your tree cutting permit, but also get what they call a Sykes Acts permit to recreate. And what that does is it let us know, like I have a pin, I do it all the time when I go out and go bird hunting, and it just, you log in and say, I'm at this training area to get this tree, and it's that simple. And it'll automatically log you out because you're going to put the time frame in there. That is actually a yearly cost, one-time cost of $10. That's to recreate anywhere in the U.S. Army Garrison, Alaska training areas. All right, here's a quick video on the Holiday Assistance Program.
Hey, good afternoon, Fort Wainwright. My name is Chaplain Major Tony Check. I'm Fort Wainwright's Deputy Garrison Chaplain. I'm glad you're tuning in with us this afternoon. So today I'd like to talk about the Holiday Assistance Program. Every year, the Fort Wainwright Religious Support Office conducts a Holiday Assistance Program. The program provides holiday meals to selected soldiers, airmen, DoD personnel, and their families that can benefit the most out of it. This year, the Holiday Assistance Program will be conducted on the 18th of November and also on the 16th of December, both of those at Southern Lights Chapel. This program is ran by the Religious Support Office in partnership with Fort Wainwright's Chapel Communities, Fort Wainwright's Commissary, and the generous donations of community donors and viewers like you. Personnel are nominated through their unit leadership. If you'd like to support this program, there are 4 ways you can do so. One is if you already attend a Fort Wainwright Chapel service, you'll have an opportunity to give at an upcoming designated offering held on one of the Sunday services in November and December. The second way is if you shop at your local commissary, the commissary supports this program. A third way is that you can give online at the Army Chapel Tithes and Offerings page, which you'll see a QR code for, or you can also drop off a donation at a religious support office located inside a Northern Lights Chapel. We appreciate all that you do for our Fort Wainwright community and our families. Thanks for what you do. Pro Deo Patria.
All right, team, welcome back. What a great video about the Holiday Assistance Program. I employ all the chains of command out there to ensure that our deserving soldiers take full advantage of that program that's been going on for years at many Army posts around the world. Our next topic is just a reminder on 11 November, Veterans Day, at 11 o'clock at the Westmark Hotel. For those of you who are interested, can participate in a free Veterans Day observance ceremony put on by our wonderful leaders in the Fairbanks community. I'll be there personally and several other key leaders from the area. So come out and join us. Next hot topic is tree lighting event. Every year, well, I shouldn't say every year. There was a pause to it during, a couple years ago. We won't even mention the word. But last year we had it again. And it's at the Physical Fitness Center. We have our official indoor post Christmas tree. We'll do an official tree lighting ceremony there. Families are invited to come out. We got Santa Claus that will be there for pictures with kiddos. We'll have crafts and holiday music and several other things going on. So come out and join us on Friday, December 2nd at between 1800 and 2000. All right, team, and the final hot topic that I want to put out, by far not the least, is the Thanksgiving meal at our Wolf Den Warrior Restaurant. I will tell you, I went last year, and it was the best I have seen in my 24 Army career. Our team does a wonderful job with this meal. If you're a meal card holder, it's free. If you're anyone else on the installation, it costs you $10.05. Now, what do you get with $10.05? Well, you're going to get roast turkey, steamship round, ham, salmon, lobster, and crab legs. Now, you tell me where you're going to get that type of food for $10 anywhere else in the world. I hope to see you all there. It goes from 11 to 1400 on Wednesday, 23 November. Can't wait to see you there and socialize and enjoy the wonderful meal that our great soldiers are going to prepare. All right, welcome back, Fort Wainwright. Hey, my first guest today is Josef Maier. He is our ski hill guru here at Birch Hill. As you know, we're sitting at Birch Hill, and our wonderful ski hills behind us already has our first layer of snow on it, which came early this year. We're going to start our snowmaking here in November, do 10 days of 24-hour snowmaking. Hopefully, Mother Nature will help us out like it did last year, in moderation, of course, and provide several layers of snow on top of that. Our plan is to open Birch Hill on Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, which is tradition here. Don't see any issues with that right now. So we're pretty excited. This lodge we're in right now opened last year officially. We cut the ribbon on that Black Friday. It's an $18 million lodge and is the best in the United States Army. So can't thank our higher headquarters for the support to give us this wonderful facility. So Josef, great to have you here. What are the days and hours of operations this season?
Yeah, so this season we're going to be open Friday through Sunday. Fridays we're opening at 1 p.m. and then Saturday, Sunday we'll open at 11. We'll be closing at 6 until February. We're going to extend our hours out to 7 once we get a little bit more light. Hopefully it warms up a little bit. But starting, we're going to do 1 to 6 and then 11 to 6 on the weekends. Okay,
outstanding. And then we also, during Christmas break, and spring break in March, we're going to have operations through those entire weeks also. Of course, not actually on Christmas or New Year's Day, but extended operations roughly 6 days a week during those weeks, which we do every year. Because most of the families, half-day schedule for soldiers, a lot of people take leave, and we want people to be able to enjoy the ski hill during those weeks. So that'll be great too. Next question is, what do we have available for tubing this year?
So tubing is going to look a little different. Last year it was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We had a lot of staffing issues. This year it's just going to be Saturday and Sunday, but there'll be 3 sessions on those days rather than 2 as it was last year.
Okay, so extended hours for tubing. That's great news. Now, the full details of the schedule and the pricing for season passes and day lifts and all that will be on the MWR website. I did not raise the prices on season passes at all. We kept them where they're at. We felt that those were where they needed to be after last year. So very, very good opportunities. Roughly, you ski 12 times, 10 to 12 times, you break even. So if you're going to be up here all the time, it's absolutely worth it. We also did integrate one new thing, which is the 10 ski lift punch card. So if you buy that, you get one free. So you're basically, for $270, you're getting $300 worth of ski lift days. So that's another option we decided to provide the community in case you don't think you're going to be up here as much. So if someone's interested in getting a job, where can they go besides here at Birch Hill?
So you can stop down at the outdoor rec building. You can go to USA Jobs, as you said, and right now we're actually offering a $2,000 hiring incentive for people to come in.
The $2,000 bonus, right, to work the season here at Birch Hill. That's a pretty big deal.
Pretty good deal.
I just want to make sure everybody heard that. So, we can even hire soldiers as long as their chain of command gives them permission to work, 1 or 2 days on the weekend or whatever. So these are great opportunities for anybody that's interested. All right, this is one that's near and dear to everybody's heart. Why is it that we close the hill at -20 and below?
So it's for human safety and also structural safety. If it gets too cold and the ski lift breaks and there's people on it, it's going to be a bad day for everyone. So we want to prevent that.
Right, and that's a key point. So the true reason, right? Because we know there's varying risk that individuals will take at negative temperatures, but we want to have that buffer zone to ensure the structural integrity out here is negative 20, right? Now it'll go below that, but we don't want to dip into that. That's the true safety zone is negative 20 that's rated for. So you're spot on. And that temperature measurement is right here at the hill.
Yep.
So you may see a temperature down below or a higher temperature on the top of the hill. It's the lowest temperature actually on this hill that we go off of, again, and that's for the safety of everybody on the hill. So I'm glad we answered that one. And when does the season passes officially go on sale, and how can folks buy them?
All right, so until the hill opens, all the passes will be sold at ODR. That's starting November 3rd, which is going to be a Thursday. And then anytime the building's open, you can come and buy them. So that'll be Thursday through Monday. We're closed Tuesday, Wednesday. But other than that, whenever we're open, you can come get a pass.
Okay, and then once the hill opens,
they'll be sold here. So they'll no longer be sold at Outdoor Rec. So just come to the hill, you'll get a pass at the front register.
Perfect. Yeah, I know that's what I did last year. I actually bought mine right up here at the hill, and they print off your little ID card that you can clip, put a strip type through and put it right on your jacket. That's what I did because I wear the same jacket, and then you're good to go for the rest of the season. So what I will tell you, the community is, we will put that, if you notice the temperatures are hovering around negative 15, negative 20 range, I ask you to look at the MWR website or the Fort Wainwright Facebook page or the Garrison app, because we'll put out an alert on that, because I'll make the decision. I try not to make it until the last minute, to in the morning, early morning of the day of, to really understand, because sometimes the forecast isn't going to be accurate the night prior. But that's how you'll know before you drive up here and then realize it's closed. Apologize up front, but I promise you it will be posted so you have the ability to see it. One last plug, there is cross-country ski trails all over the Birch Hill area, above it, to the right of it, or to the east of it. And if you're interested in cross-country skiing up and around Birch Hill, of course, we also have that capability, which you'll see video on here in a minute, at the golf course. But if you're interested in understanding these cross-country ski trails up here, they're groomed by the Nordic Ski Club of Fairbanks, and you can go to their website and see the ski trail maps. So highly recommend you all give that a shot. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great exercise during the winter. So again, Joseph, thanks again for everything you do and for the information you provided.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. All right, here's a short video.
Hey, Dustin Adams here with Chena Bend Golf Course. Although we're sad to see the golf season come to an end, we're super excited about the upcoming winter season. We have cross-country skiing, we have fat tire bike rentals here, we have our simulators, so a lot to do here at Chena Bend. We're one of the great places to grab lunch during the day. We're here Monday through Friday from 10:30 to 17:30, open for lunch. Come grab a great burger, and we're getting the course ready for cross-country skiing.
We now welcome to the program Jennifer Probert-Erhart, board member of the Alaska Dog Mushers Association and a competitive musher herself, and her special guest, Kyra.
So welcome back, Fort Wainwright. And as introduced, I have Jennifer Probert-Erhart here with me, the Alaska Dog Mushers Association representative. And with her, she has her lovely dog, Kyra, who I just met a few minutes ago and is a total sweetheart. So can you tell us a little bit about Kyra?
So Kyra's a sled dog. Kyra's a sprint sled dog, but we adopted her from the shelter. So her exact background, we don't totally know. We're guessing Greyhound, Whippet, Alaska Husky, something, but she's about 4. And she's very fast.
Yeah, she looks like it, and she's a total sweetheart. So, and that kind of leads us into, let's talk about sprint mushing versus what I didn't even know sprint mushing existed until just now. I'm used to the Iditarod, Yukon Quest, long endurance husky types. Mm-hmm. So for our community out there, just give us a little bit of difference.
So sprint is short and fast, and sprints can be different distances, anywhere from 4 miles up to about 30 miles. And depending on those, your average speed will be a little bit different, because you want to pace to be able to make it.
Sure.
And then kind of a difference between distance versus sprint is distance is like a long excursion. You're spending the night out there. We have a closed track that's we go super fast on. It's groomed, and we sleep in bed at night.
So you're not carrying supplies generally. It's
Oh, no,
light and fast.
it would be also a good analogy would be cross-country skiing versus downhill skiing.
I understand.
So we're not stopping. We
Wow.
wax our skis just like, it's just everything. We stone grind, we wax, we do everything just like skiers do.
And maybe I'm putting you on the spot, but like the average miles per hour that an endurance sled would go versus the average miles per hour that a sprint, just to put that in perspective.
So I don't completely know the average of a distance, but sometimes I think it's like they're down to like 5 miles an hour because they're going for 1,000 miles.
Right.
I'm a limited class sprint musher, and my average speed is 22 miles an hour.
Wow, that's moving.
It's moving.
Okay,
yeah.
well, so the next question is, where can our soldiers and families go to participate or watch these events?
Yeah, so all of the Alaska Dog Mushers Association races are held here locally in Fairbanks. All of our preliminary races, which start in the end of December, weather and snow depending, those are all held out at the Mushers Hall on Farmers Loop. The start and finish is right there at the track, so you can see that, and you can see all of the mushers hooking up and all of that. Some of the races out in the woods, so depending on the distance, if it's like a 4-mile race, you can say like most teams are doing about a 3-minute mile.
Wow.
So you can kind of gauge that when we go out in 2-minute intervals. So depending on the number of teams and the distance that they're going, teams can be starting and teams can be finishing about the same.
So when you do a 30-mile race, it's all right on that same area?
So a 30-mile race, there are 30 miles worth of trails out in the area. So College Road to Farmers Loop, there are trails throughout most of that area.
Wow.
So when our biggest race, we call it the granddaddy of them all, it's the Open North American. We're going to have the 77th running of that this March. It's always the third weekend in March that race is held. And it's a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That race has some viewing points along the trail. Kramer's Field is a really good viewing point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds wonderful. And I know we're going to be putting up a website here on the screen. It allows our community to go in there and see where all these events are at. Mm-hmm. Is it free to watch?
It is free, yes.
Oh, even
We're
better.
a nonprofit organization, a 501c3 nonprofit organization, so we don't mind donations.
Sure.
Our trail system costs us around $11,000 to maintain those trails, and people use them for a lot of like fat biking and skiing and walking and things. And so any contributions would help out towards that trail system is much appreciated. And then we bring in a pretty good economy to the local area. For a lot of mushers come from all over the world. And not only do they come to compete, but they come to train on those trails because we have, those are some of the best trails in the world.
World-class trails.
Yeah.
Well, that's incredible. See the things you learn about Fairbanks. This is just another one. Every time I sit down with somebody, I learn something new. These are just neat little gems. That this is why we do the Arctic Vibe, so we can expose our community to these things. Because I guarantee you that some people are going to watch this and you're going to see them out there. So
The
that's
other
wonderful.
thing I would say too is we have a heated building out there with bathrooms, and then we try to have concessions. So if you're bringing your families, you can stand outside and watch, or there's a warm place to sit.
Oh, that's
inside
great.
too.
Now, last thing is I understand your husband is a musher. Have you ever raced against him?
Yeah.
And who won?
I'm not sure if he wants me to share that, but
That's okay. I don't want to cause any strife here.
I'll say this, and he'll share this too, is that we've raced against each other, and he's even gotten to pick. So it kind of depends on the race and what's happening is which dogs go in what team, but he's even gotten the pick. And
he still won.
He's 6'2". I'm not.
Gotcha.
So that's one good thing about being short. There's not a ton of sports that being short is an advantage, but The other thing that is unique to this sport is there's not a lot of sports that men and women and an age span competes.
Yeah.
So we can, you can have like a 16-year-old girl and a 75-year-old man, and
Yeah.
everybody in between racing in an event. So
That's really cool.
we all have our own advantages too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I can't thank you enough for coming. This has been very, very informative for me, and I can tell you that you'll see my family out there. I'm excited to take them out.
Great.
So thank you so much, Jennifer.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Yes.
See you later, Kyra.
So hello, Fort Wainwright. My name is Command Sergeant Major Murillo. I'm your Garrison Command Sergeant Major. With me today, I have Miss Elizabeth Cook, our Cultural Resource Manager and our Native Liaison. So Elizabeth, hello, how you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Things?
Good, good, thank you.
Good to see you again. Thank you for joining me. So we had a couple of questions when we were talking about, and when it comes to Alaska Native culture. Okay, so first one, so how are Alaska Native cultures different here in Alaska than they are from any of the other states? I mean, it's pretty diverse here, so right?
It is super diverse here. Alaska is an extremely culturally diverse state, and we have a very, very deep history. According to the U.S. Census in 2020, around 22% of Alaskans identified themselves as part or all Alaska Native. Now, we can divide that population up into the 20 different languages and cultures across the state. And, you know, Alaskans have been trying to adapt and thrive and refine ways of living in the Arctic and subarctic for millennia.
Yeah.
So because we have we're a large state and we have such a diverse ecology and landscape, we can now divide that population up essentially into 5 cultural regions where a long time ago, people decided to settle and differentiate their cultures from their neighbors by adapting to the ecology and the resources that were in those spaces.
Wow. Wow, it's amazing. So with the very cultural landscape that's around here, how do the tribal governments here differ from those down in the lower 48?
Yeah, people may not realize that there are 574 federally recognized tribes across the nation.
Wow.
And 40% of them, or 229 of them, are in the state of Alaska. It's a lot.
Yeah.
So people have been organizing governments for as long as they've needed to organize themselves. But the federal government didn't recognize Alaska's tribes until very, very recently, late in our history. So things developed a little differently here than they developed in the lower 48 states.
Okay.
In the lower 48, tribes tend to be all-encompassing organizations. They have an arm that governs their citizenry. They have an arm that provides services for that community. And then they have a third arm that usually has business enterprises that do things that are entrepreneurial to generate more income, to pay for things, to support that environment, to provide job opportunities.
Wow. Yeah.
So in Alaska, it's a little bit different. We do all of the same things here, tribally, but the primary thing is our federally recognized tribes. We have tribes that are sovereigns, right? They are sovereigns that exist within the confines of our country, and they can have their own police forces, their own judicial systems, but they create all the laws that govern that citizenry. And we have to relate to them on a government-to-government basis the way we would any other nation.
Right.
And so those tribes govern their citizenry, while a second arm, usually a nonprofit service provider that takes the form of a regional tribal consortia, will provide services. They're structured so that tribes can allocate money to them, and they can run the big services that serve their communities, big services like health service,
Right.
for instance. Yeah. Then there's a third arm that are for-profit corporations, regional and village corporations that were created by the Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act of 1971.
Okay.
And what those do are they invest money and they create businesses that can provide job opportunities and share dividends with their indigenous tribal shareholders.
Wow. So with the indigenous people, the indigenous Alaskans are here, how is it that, well, how can the America's Arctic Warriors sit there and learn? How is that applicable to America's Arctic Warriors?
Well, you know, there are no greater subject matter experts on Alaska's ecology and landscape and climate than the indigenous population.
That's amazing.
So, you know, indigenous people in Alaska and their ancestors have been refining and adapting to Arctic and subarctic life since time immemorial.
Right.
So if the Army can harvest some of this regionally specialized knowledge that's been passed down internally in the state for generations, it's only going to make the Army's warfighters more resilient and safer.
Absolutely. Being able to sit there and adapt and adopt some of those, you know, just ways of life, just cultural ways of life to live and to operate in this.
Absolutely.
You know, definitely make the Arctic Warriors an Arctic dominant.
Absolutely. You know, and be frank, remote Alaska can be a dangerous place.
Oh, yes.
But people have chosen to live here for thousands of years. So if the Army personnel can learn firsthand from these subject matter experts, right, and learn about the weather and the seasonal changes and where to forage and what to avoid and when to press on and when to hunker down, right? Those are the things that make you do well, and those are the skills to learn if you want to do well in this theater.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the reason, honestly, that we acknowledge that we are on the homelands, ancestral homelands of the Chena people when we come onto Fort Wainwright, because we are honoring those people and the legacy of their knowledge. And by doing that, we're also honoring the succeeding generations that we can learn from today.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, Elizabeth, thank you very much. I appreciate you taking the time out today to come talk to us and you sharing with the Fort Wainwright community just a little bit of history and a little bit of culture, you know, for the Alaskan people. Again, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
But getting back to, you know, just understanding how to adapt and understanding how to live in these types of climates and when to adjust and when to do certain things. Here's a question. When do we plug in our vehicles? All right. At what point do we plug our vehicles in, right? So watch this quick video to give you a little bit of knowledge of when to do that.
This is your Intelligent Parking Lot Controller, which we go by the acronym IPLC. And the first thing you need to do when you are pulling into your parking spot, you need to make sure that those two green lights are blinking. And so that tells you that the IPLC is functioning properly. When you plug your cable in, your light on your receptive end of the cable should light up. So again, that's a good test to make sure that the IPLC is working properly and that your cable is good with no shorts or bad wires or anything. Next step, of course, is to plug it into your car. And again, that receptive light needs to stay on, or else it might mean that you have a problem with your car. You might have a short in your block heater in your car, which is of course a problem. Now when you plug your car in, for the first 2 hours, there's nothing happening. The IPLC knows that you just plugged your car in, and so it's not going to put any power into your engine heater, your block heater, for the first 2 hours. After the first 2 hours, how much power you get into your block heater depends how cold it is. At 20 degrees above Fahrenheit, the IPLC starts sending power to your block heater, but it doesn't stay on 100% of the time. Every 4.5 minutes, the IPLC checks the temperature, and as it gets progressively colder from 20 above to 20 below, the IPLC actually sends more and more power to your heater. When it hits 20 below, the power stays on 100% of the time. Now, if by any chance you ever see a red light on your IPLC, check two things. One, it might mean that you have a short in your block heater in your car, which is not unusual. The other thing is it might be a problem in the IPLC itself, in which case you would report that to the customer service desk or use the ARMA system to report electrical problem. One other problem that can occur is that, especially if you have a big truck or something like that, it might require more power than the IPLC can give it. If that's the case, you got a red light. So it's a pretty simple, it's a device that's saved us a lot of energy since we've been up here at Fort Wainwright, since they've been installed several years ago. So it's a good thing, but like I say, you just have to make sure you're using it properly to protect yourself and your car, and if there is a problem, report it.
All right, Fort Wainwright, welcome back. Closing comments. Our next Arctic Vibe is going to be held at the Directorate of Emergency Services over on the other side of Post at their new facility that just opened up this year. I hope to see you there, or if not, you can, as usual, we post this live recording on Tuesday evenings, the first Tuesday of every month. If you have any type of recommendations or what you'd like to see, please put it in the comments or contact our public affairs office for those recommendations. And have a wonderful, wonderful winter. Take care.